Good. Okay, we are live. So let's give it 1 second for people to join. Okay, we're live. All right. Hi to whoever's on here. I can't see your names, but I can see the numbers. So welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Brian?
Hey, Rita.
Hey,
How
how
are
you
you?
doing?
I'm
I'm good.
great. I'm great. You look great, by the way, if I say so myself. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, friend. You do too.
God be the glory.
Nothing but the glory.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We are live with Brian Reeves for another live edition or whatever you want to call it of I Survived. And I Survived is a series about what happens when individuals take the necessary steps to overcome the unpredictable and harsh circumstances of life. So we highlight overcomers that raise up when most people fall down. And these exceptional men and women have a lot to share of how they're finding their new version of the normal on the other side of personal turmoil. And today is no exception. So we have Brian Reeves with us, who is vastly known as the founder and leader of the gospel group Brian Reeves and Heart After God. He's a phenomenal singer. He's now an independent artist as well, known as Brian Reeves. And he recently started a catering business that is booming called Be Cooking, and it's becoming an instant sensation. Before the triumph that is still unveiling itself, there was a tragedy that rocked Brian's world. His brother, his older brother, Charles Reeves, was the victim of a violent murder in which he was not the intended target. So let's walk through how Brian survived. Brian,
Hey,
welcome, friend.
thank you so much for having me. I just feel so privileged and honored just to, number one, anytime to connect with you is always a wonderful time.
I feel the
But
same.
I'm glad that you can see my story and see that I have survived. So thank you for that. That means a lot.
Absolutely.
It says a
And
lot.
this is a big subject. It's a sensitive subject for most, and we're going to get pretty deep into this.
Okay.
So for the audience, I want you to take advantage of learning and understanding the perspective that you're going to get tonight. And for Brian, I want you to be as transparent as you want to, and not as transparent as you don't want to. So if we talk about something or a question is asked you don't feel comfortable asking, you don't have to answer. Answer. You don't have to answer it. So let's start off with your family dynamic. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and who was in your immediate household.
Okay, so in my immediate household, it really primarily consisted of my mother, Dolores, and then my older brother, Charles. It
Yeah.
was us. I was the baby for almost 11 years. And my mom got remarried, and then she had our blessed baby brother, little Eric, Eric Fathery, who I mean, I just love my little brother. That's my bubbies, what I call him. But so we lived in that. My mom was a single mother up until about 1987, 88. She remarried, and so my stepfather came to live in the house. So it was at one point it was my older brother and myself. We shared a room, Charles, and Eric was in a crib,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom and stepdad's room. And then we eventually moved in '95 to Pike Township, Well, we had a 3 bedroom house, more space, so on and so forth. So that's how. So our not that our dynamic didn't change, but just our surroundings changed.
Yeah.
And we were a very my mom. We lived in a very saved household. My mom was, I think, a great example of what it means and what it meant to walk in the ways of God. We would have church, and there were times the car would be broken down and we couldn't even make it to church. So we would have church in the living room. I remember times where I told my mother, I want to be saved. Hallelujah. And at like around 11. And
Mhm.
I mean, we were the type of family, we had a Tarian service right there in the living room. And those from the apostolic way, when a good old Terry, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah is. So that's exactly the type of family we grew up. However, let me speak to that if that's okay. Though we were a religious family, I just think there were a lot of times where we didn't have those moments to be open and transparent. I think because of our religious background, that you always felt like you were being judged,
Mhm.
or you already knew what the outcome or what would have been said. If you say this, you already know this is what's going to be the response. So we really weren't an open family. I would say. I think we got open the older I got, and the older my family got. But that was our family dynamic. We just,
Okay.
church kids grew up
Mhm.
in church. Yeah.
And with that dynamic, what role did your big brother Charles play in your life?
Wow. Charles was, and I think this happens for older siblings. They take on this parental role.
Yeah.
It's the parents that say, look out for your little brother or look out for your little sister. So Charles was like this very outspoken, um, strong little boy. Even my mom, he was 8 pounds and 9 ounces. She even said when she carried him in the womb, he would just raw the way he would move was almost a resemblance of the person he was. Very stern and rah. Anybody know my brother? Rah. But but he was a protector.
Yeah.
You definitely can see there were times people would call me names,
Uh-huh.
and there were some horrible names.
Yeah.
And my older brother, they would call me fag, I'm gonna say it, and other things. But my older brother, I remember I've heard stories where he hit somebody in the face for talking about his
Good.
little brother. It was good. And also other people, would approach him or try to, say things to him, even about me.
Yeah.
But he was always that defense. He never, to me, he wouldn't let nobody talk about his nobody. He was a very loyal person, a very loyal person. Especially he took friendship seriously and he was loyal about it. Even so, one time this guy was drunk and hit one of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Charles hit this man in the face so hard that he broke his hand because and even though it wasn't even my brother's fight, he just didn't like people picking on other people, and he was the type like he wouldn't start a fight, but if you messed with him,
Over.
yeah, he was gonna get dealt with. So he was very strong, very more of a father figure, and you see that a lot with single parents. These older siblings take on these roles as
Yeah.
almost surrogate. So
Yeah.
I would say that's who he was in our family.
Wow. And I must say I agree. I wasn't there when you guys were being raised, but I've been around for quite some time, and I can agree. And Charles was such an amazing person on every level. Um, but take me to the night that his life was taken. What was it like for you in the moment that you found out about this tragic and horrific incident?
Well, at the time, I was, of course, I reside in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and I had some issues with my iPhone
Mm-hmm.
because, I guess it was some type of security clearance or thing that I had to do because I had, you put your password in so many times,
Yeah.
um, like they locked me out for almost 13 business days.
Yeah.
So I had my iPad, and I get a message from my little brother, Eric. He says to me, he says, Brian, you need to call home right now. So I'm a little aroused, but not. But then he sent another message shortly after and said, you need to come home now. So all of my senses are up. And that's nothing. For him to ask you to come home now, something has happened, but I still don't know. And I call my mother, and she's crying and she's breathing. And she says to me, she said, he's been shot. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he's at the hospital.
Yeah.
She said, no, Brian, he passed away. He died. No, she said he died. And of course, I just it's like the whole time just stand still. It will stand still on you. And like you take it in and you hear it and you sit with it, but it's a weird space of just utter shock and disbelief. And then I'm a why person, so what happened and why and what um and I just said to mom, I'm so sorry.
Mm.
I said, I am so sorry because I
What
can
were you
can
feeling
hear.
in that moment? What were you feeling to say that I'm sorry? What was that sorry
it
about?
was it was her pain. I'm
Mm.
so sorry that you are in this type of pain, mother.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I'm gonna open up a door here because I think a lot of times single mothers get a bad rap.
Mhm. How so?
And let me say why. Because a lot of times when things show up in your children, whether they are in jail, incarcerated, in something happens, the first thing, especially I feel if you come from a single family, the
Mhm.
first thing that come after is your mama.
Yes. Yeah.
And as if in some way my mother did the best she could.
Hmm.
And I always honor her and let her know that. Like things occur in our lives because that's just the way God set it up.
Right.
Period. And then when you become an adult, you have your own opportunity to deal with your own stuff and junk, right? So it's nobody's responsibility. It's not, I feel like it's not my mama's, it's not my father's responsibility to ensure my own health and wholeness. I'm not saying people are not influenced by certain upbringings. However, when I said, Mom, I'm sorry. I am so sorry at this pain. And I tried to let her know, even in that moment, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
People think I didn't do enough. I didn't say enough. I didn't do this enough. I wish I would have, but it's just a part of life. Yeah, but that's because I can go down a whole road.
Yeah. So what happened? And what was your grieving process like? So what happened with your brother, and then after this situation happened, what was your grieving process like?
Okay, so at the time of his murder, and after, as a family, I would say for at least between 72 hours, we really didn't know anything. We kept hearing.
Yeah.
You know, because there were two people that. So let me go back. So, what we heard initially that there were two people that passed away that night.
Mhm.
It was a younger gentleman and my brother.
Right.
But we didn't know were they in some type of altercation, and it got escalated and went to this, gun violence and shooting back and forth.
Right.
So we were very unclear. I would say maybe 3 or 4 days, we got a call from the detective, and he explained from the scenario what happened. So I'm going to revisit that night.
Yeah.
So there was a young man and another young man that were in, I guess, in conflict with each other.
Yeah.
And he realized that the one guy was looking for a guy that was at the club. And the young guy comes and he's trying to shoot the younger gentleman.
Mhm.
And so they say the affidavit reads my brother was on his cell phone and just walked outside at the wrong time and was hit 2 times, one in the head and in the chest. And once just give me a moment. And so, and then as we pray, and then from there, the two gentlemen, my brother and this younger gentleman, were passed away. Um, and that's exactly what happened.
So I know that this story made the news, and a lot of people had a lot to say. Some people are just, people who just read about the story or saw the article covered and made judgmental comments. Other people knew the situation and had heard, from family or friends, and had educated responses to give. But um, talk about what it meant to you to hear people that you don't know, people who don't know you, make assumptions and put tags and labels on your brother that aren't true. And even in your own community, people that made judgment calls, and use judgment to express an opinion.
So, and I can only be honest,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and and I have to bear a truth that exists in our Christian community.
Yeah.
And I say this with respect, but I also say it in truth.
Yeah.
Um, my brother was raised in church, and that's not for me to say he was in church, out of church, knew God, didn't know God, whatever. That's not my place.
Yeah.
But he was at a strip club.
Uh-huh.
So with that comes all of this theology,
Yeah.
that we have passed down, or that we are taught, that says, God passed judgment, or in some way it was a response to maybe the life my brother lived,
Yeah.
or in some way, um, that was the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
or I even heard comments like he was on the devil's territory, and that's what happens. There was a picture I posted of my brother. He's actually at Turning Point, and he was at my little niece's christening,
Mm-hmm.
and he has his hands up and
Yeah.
he's praying. And a church lady
Yeah.
commented and said, he won't be remembered like that. He died in a bar. And I hear Ayala Fix My Life. We cannot heal what we're not willing to reveal.
Yes.
So tonight I'm going to pull the cover, and I'm going to reveal so we can find healing.
Yeah.
Because I think when people, under any circumstance of how a person leaves this earth,
Yeah.
it's really not for you to be the judge and the jury. And you are, anybody who's ever been associated with gun violence or anything, any type of violence,
Mm-hmm.
it is such a shock and such a devastation that extra talk is like you re-victimize the victim.
Yeah,
We're already suffering. And
absolutely.
then to have to contend or with your own theologies of what's right, what's wrong, was this an act of God, or was this God trying to send his wrath and all of this whatnot, even to the point, and the eulogy was not well spoken.
Mm.
I got several text messages afterwards that was like, what? Now, that doesn't take away from the support that was provided. I'm not
That's
minimizing or diminishing that.
that's a
I
good statement.
appreciate that. However, again, we cannot heal what we're not willing to reveal.
Right.
And I got several text messages that people were like, what just happened here? And it goes back again to bad theology
Mm-hmm.
that does not, at times, does not serve or uplift. And then certain people use platforms
Yeah,
to express their own personal view.
absolutely.
And let me be clear, when a family is going through, and hear me well,
Yeah,
it is never about you.
ever.
Your job is to be present.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Whether you have no words, whether you have words, your job and your obligation is to be present and to ask the people who are in crisis.
Yes.
And this is a word I learned in therapy, and I hope this blesses all of you that are tuned in. It says, what can I do to support you?
That's good.
And in that way, it allows the person, the receiver, to say, this is what I need right now.
Yeah. And it allows them to decide what they need and not you to decide that for you.
Yes.
And there's a comment from cousin Cherise that says it was a missed opportunity to address gun violence in our community. What a perfect opportunity to do that. And I agree. So do you feel like the church, and we don't have to single out a specific,
Absolutely.
I'm just saying the church as a whole, whatever the church is to you, do you feel like they showed up for you?
In some ways,
Okay.
yes. At the house, being present, being there. Um, but then there's also, again, this undercurrent,
Yes.
you know. But that to me, that was more expressed in people's words, um, at a distance.
Yeah.
Like you're on Facebook land or you're up, in the pulpit. I can't get to you. I can't tell you what I want to tell you. Or we can't have, or we can't have dialogue.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I just think church and people have to be very careful,
Mm-hmm.
not just with my family, but how you handle people when they're going through crisis.
Yeah.
You're so quick to create a supernatural God is present, God is here, and absolutely. But you're going to need some counseling.
On a natural level. So in the areas that could have been areas of improvement and opportunity to be present in a way that was supportive, um, of the family, when those areas are missed, what disservice does that do for a family? And how does it stall the closure?
Um, I think when things are mishandled,
Yeah.
the responsibility is for you to speak up.
Yeah.
That's it. That is it.
Yes.
God gave you a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody is twisting your arm, you have the right to say, oh, wait a minute. And so I think it's the responsibility of the community to listen.
Yeah.
And then when that person's, because I got a voice, I would tell it. I would tell it. I would tell. I would tell. I would tell. Yes, I would tell. But because I don't believe in swallow the fireball
Mm-hmm.
and then acting like I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. If I'm feeling some way about what has occurred 3 and 4 days later, you're gonna hear from me.
Absolutely.
So I just think going back to the question that people who are assisting families, listen,
Absolutely.
listen. They will tell you what they need. If they need something, they'll say, "Hey, we need A, B, C, and D."
Yeah.
So I just think people have to again quit trying to create your own platform. It's not about you.
Right.
Ask the family.
Yeah.
Is there something you want me to say?
That is so good. I hope there are some ministers that are
Please,
watching.
ministers, please,
Yes.
please, please ask the family. It's a eulogy.
It's a eulogy.
You speak well.
Yeah.
This is not an opportunity unless the family requests that. It is not an opportunity. Let me be real too, to have a come to Jesus moment if the family has not approved.
Absolutely.
Talk. And then you end up.
You will remember how you showed up. And if you are the voice of God, then what you have to say should meet the thoughts, the aches, the penetration of their hearts. It shouldn't disturb
Yeah.
anybody.
And let me be clear, because I don't want people to mishandle my words.
Mhm.
I am not saying that I am not appreciative
Yeah.
of how certain organizations and churches things showed up.
Right.
However, there was an area that you missed the mark.
Yes. Good.
And,
So
and yeah,
we'll go ahead. Go ahead.
no, that's it. Because
So let's dig a little bit deeper into the grieving process, because a lot of times um, we, much like this conversation, we talk about, something happened, there was a tragedy, and then we talk about the before and the after, but we don't talk about the middle. And it goes back to what you were saying: when something's wrong, speak up. So I want to dig into your grieving process a little deeper, and talk about what what steps
still breathing.
what steps you over or you took. So I'm trying to talk through these Invisaligns. It's hard, but what steps you took to overcome losing yourself and to overcome being stuck? So first thing I want to do is kind of look at the pattern. What was it like? Because we talk again about the beginning and the end, but not the middle. So what are your days like? Do you cry? Do you pray? Do you not feel like eating? Do you have thoughts that are left and right and all over the place? What is that process like? What happens?
Um, I mean, so I would say what happened for me. I felt a paradigm shift internally.
Mm,
I felt like in some ways my older brother, passed a mantle to me
yeah.
that I felt this huge burden to make sure everybody was okay.
Mm,
I reached out to my niece, his daughter. I reached out to my little brother, my family. And it got to the point where it was who was present for me.
Yeah.
And here I am trying to be strong, but there would be time, especially when I don't know, when you lose somebody to gun violence, the despair that they died alone,
Yeah. Yeah.
you go through you rehearse the whole process in your mind as to what happened, plays over and over. I have cried in the car and just said, Charles, I'm so sorry you had to experience that.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I was just, I am a therapy person. So I'm going to do more than pray and read my Bible. I'm going to sit on the, make an appointment. So I started to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
Drinking. Hallelujah.
For real, people need this because this is what they're doing now, and they're not speaking.
They say alcohol sales is up during quarantine, but I mean, I don't think I was an alcoholic, you know. But you know, you get to a point where, but you get to a point where I started going, okay, Brian, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Too
What
much.
got you to the point? What made you feel like it was too much? How did you
You was
recognize?
doing it too much. You have me.
Don't answer. You answer what you want.
Okay, but no. Okay, how did I get where I go? You do it too much.
Yeah. What made you, somebody said, thank you for being transparent. What made you realize that, what was your come to Jesus moment where you realized I'm not just having fun. I'm dying on the inside. I'm struggling. Everybody has a different feeling. I'm losing it. I'm not together. I'm disguising. I'm covering. What made you get to whatever point it was for you?
Well, this is the great thing about God.
Uh-huh.
You go back, we go into another language. This is the great thing about God that even though you feel far from life, God is not far. Oh my God. And I tell you, even when David said, if I made my bed in hell, thou art there. I don't care wherever you could be in somebody's house,
Yeah,
in the bed, butt naked,
absolutely.
and you can find God.
You can find them. Yes.
And the great thing is there's always this internal voice, because this is what I love about God. I got to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only are we taught to love God,
Mm-hmm.
but God will teach you self-love. And the standard of love that God has for you, that you start begin to adopting for yourself, starts kicking in and starts saying, hey, 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 you're going too far.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're going too far because you're dirty and you're nasty, but because the value that you place on yourself said, you're going too far, Reeves. And I called my therapist and I said, I got to break through. And I'm the type of person, how I deal with grief and things, I'm a runner. So I will be busy.
Yeah.
I will have this to do and I will have that to do and I will go and do this and let me go run and do this and let me run. And my therapist said to me, she said, Brian, why are you struggling sitting with yourself? One day I took off of work on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I think it was around 12 noon, and a friend of mine released a single, Rashad McPherson, and I listened to it. And I started to write in my journal, because you got to get it out of you. Mm-hmm. And I said, I hate that you are not here. And I cried and I cried and I cried because I kept running.
Yeah.
staying, and sometimes being busy keeps us from facing ourselves and dealing with our stuff,
Yeah.
are pointing the blame at always these sinners. And I wish folks would get saved and folks would do this. Will you work on you? Your
And
judgmental spirit.
it's hard sometimes to confront yourself. So, what was it like to sit down with you?
Well, I thank God for quarantine because it helped me sit down.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I started noticing this awakening in me. I started a business,
yeah.
Be Cooking, which is a mobile meal company. Shout out. Be Cooking has saved my life,
Mm,
where I felt like I am now enjoying life and loving life and enjoying success and can feel the reins of grief releasing some of its grip.
yeah.
It's like,
What
and I
talk
think
about the grip? What is the grip of grief?
sometimes you are lost and don't know it
Wow, listen.
because you're functioning. I
Yeah.
know I can give a concert, I can lead worship, I can do all these things and tasks and go to the gym and da 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 da. But secretly, I was in pain and acting out because of my pain.
What made you, what makes anybody feel like the pain that they're going through is something they have to keep to themselves or have to disguise or hide or can't be open to being real with the level of pain that you're experiencing?
Three things come up for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think one is the trust of your intimate circle.
Oh,
You have got to have people in your
that's
life
so good.
that you can be brutally honest
Wow.
and yet not judged.
Mm. Yes, that is
You can
so.
say, I hate this.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know what I did last night?
Yeah.
And they go, friend, you know, Rita, friend, we have had conversations. We have had conversations and things. I have cried over the phone. I've called, talked to my mama. I would drive to work, and I mean, I can't keep it together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I called my cousin Wanda, who lost her son to gun violence 7 months prior.
Yes.
And one time I was headed to work in tears, and I called her. I said, cousin, I know you understand exactly where I am right now. And she didn't come with 12 scriptures, 59 tongues. She said, I know, cousin,
Mm.
because she lost her son. So I knew she understood the depth of where, the despair of where I was at. And I think we are, some of our circles,
Mhm. Yeah.
our church circles,
Mhm.
have taught us how to perform.
Yes. You are
How
helping.
are you today? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. That at moments you can be vulnerable, but watch what you say, because everybody can't receive what you got to say. I don't want to be around them kind of people
Mm-hmm.
that you can't hold the weight of the truth,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
when the truth is what will make you free.
It will make
But when I speak my truth,
you.
will I be judged?
There it
Will
is.
I be discarded? Even will they even minimize my pain? You still going through it?
Yes, that's a big one.
You still crying?
Yeah.
When when you gonna let the Lord have His way?
Mm-mm-mm.
When you gonna let it go? And it just let in those moments, let people be,
Yeah. Let them be.
and just show them love and be present
Mm-hmm.
and be present. But I think that's what I have a great support system of family members that I can be raw and we cry
Yeah. Yeah.
and we express and we're open. Cause I try to be like the strong big brother now.
Yeah.
Y'all okay, y'all okay, y'all okay, y'all okay. And forgot about me.
Somebody said talk Reeves, and somebody else said wow. Listen, because what so some people don't have what you have. What
Mhm.
do you think the difference in your progress with grief would be if you didn't have a support system that was what you needed?
Well, and I don't say this as a cliche, and I'm not trying to get votes or likes. This is just my experience.
Absolutely.
Growing up in church and understanding
Hmm.
that every event in our life,
Yeah.
whether good, bad, or indifferent,
Hmm.
you have got to learn how to find God in the midst of what you're going through. God, show me how you are moving in the midst of this chaos.
Yeah.
First of all, we have a suspect that's in jail.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Because there are people whose cases that go unsolved for years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When I tell you my family is amazing.
They are.
My friends, really great. My friends and art, I have an amazing group of people, of Black women, of men who are just these powerhouse of people that I would have never known that.
Yeah. Ooh, listen, finish that. You would never.
I would have never known that have I not experienced the loss of my brother. Let me be honest. Because I used to complain about what my family was not. I wish they would have done this more and wish my mama would have been here. I wish my daddy. And then you realize I have one of the most beautiful families in the world.
Yeah, you do.
I ain't never been molested by a family member. I never had a family member tell me I was dumb and stupid and couldn't do it. So you start seeing, hmm, my mom was in the paper
Yeah.
about, sharing her story with the whole Indiana and surrounding areas. I was able to do a concert to bring gun violence awareness.
Yeah.
Um, and I was working on some other things, but it's like turning. You got to find God in it. You have got to find God in it and find ways and meanings. It's like having this shattered mirror,
Yeah.
and you just got to pull the pieces back
Yeah.
and say, God, show me this. And then two, again, God and therapy are some greatest tools. African American church people,
Hmm.
some of us we pray and we fast, which is wonderful, but you're still dealing with it.
Still doing
But
it.
sometimes you need to
Sometimes
you
it's
need
not
to make
worth the
you need
work.
to make an appointment.
Making appointments.
And I would say this, and people ain't gonna like it, but I guess what, I don't care.
Good.
But some people intentions are well.
Hmm.
Some people really want to help you,
Hmm. Yeah.
but read my lips. As much as they want to help you, they are not qualified.
That's so good.
I would not go to a nail tech to get my hair to cut.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that is a component that is missing, that we need more mental health.
Yes.
Because again, you can mean well,
Yeah.
And what may work for somebody, like my mom, I had to learn to respect her grieving process
Yeah. Yeah.
because we all grieve differently.
Yes.
I'm a therapy person. I'm gonna look on TED Talk. I'm gonna look up the 5 stages of grief. I'm gonna go call a therapist. I'm gonna go to a grief counseling session. But my mama, she's gonna open up that book
Right.
and go to Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, Mom, look at this TED Talk. Look at this. Won't you watch this? And I just said, Brian, chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Respect her process.
Yeah.
Respect each other's process.
Mm-hmm.
And it may look different from yours. Like your whole world and belief systems are challenged
Yes.
when you have certain
Yeah.
events that occur in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
you need time to sort through it. And let me be very clear, things will change.
Yeah.
Your views will change.
Mm-hmm. And everybody's not built the same. I think it's such a disservice for the church to run to fasting and praying. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me be clear that I
Mhm.
have experienced fasting and praying, and it has shifted some stuff in my life. But it's not the answer to every single situation,
I would
because
agree.
it's human interaction that has to it has to be a part of some people's healing. There's, just support and love and things that you don't feel naturally that you may feel spiritually. That's not enough, and we have to stop telling people that's the answer and the only answer, because then the spiritual part is so important, because faith without works is dead. So obviously it's an activation system.
Mhm.
You have to have faith and you have to do work. So even though fasting and praying is super powerful, there are some things that you need more help with that you can't sort out through prayer.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are clinical things that have to take place, and we make people feel so bad, and we don't allow them the opportunity to be healed,
Yeah.
because we say this is the only answer. And while people are fasting and praying, they're contemplating suicide. While they're showing up and shouting all over the church, they're plotting on how they're going to kill themselves when they leave the church.
Or as soon as they get home,
They're
the
empty,
yes.
nothing there.
And to me, that again, you've got to do. Everybody has to do their work
Yes, do your
and
part.
and take
Do your part.
take
Yeah.
responsibility.
Uh-huh.
And there's nothing wrong with seeking professional help.
There's nothing wrong with it at all. And I'm glad that you said that, because that needs, somebody needs to know that it needs to be released to go seek help.
Yeah.
And it's
Go.
go,
Go.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you have to walk away from God. That just means you
No.
incorporate.
Actually, I think it will enhance your understanding of God. It really will.
Yeah.
That I love Rita. I love documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
I love documentaries because I love hearing people's story. Even the little murder documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that went in and killed 12 people. When you look at their family history,
Right. There's so much in
the,
there.
the tree, the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree. And what is sad is that of some people have parents that have children, and they're watching their children struggle through some of the same stuff and won't say nothing.
And you know what you went through. You remember. Listen, you're so right. You're so right.
And then condemn your child because they look and act and do some of the same things you did when you were 20.
Yeah,
Can you show grace, please?
please.
And
And
build relationship.
because we were all young once, and but we always were like, well, this ain't right, that ain't right. But when we were the youth's age, we weren't walking upright with holy grail. It's a process they have to go through.
Yeah.
But that is a great point. So with everything that you, because there are some people who have experienced loss like you have. They've lost a sibling,
Mm-hmm.
a loved one, a friend, a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, and so but they're stuck. They can't find happiness. They don't know what to do. Their days are so long.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come out of the house. They're
Mm-hmm.
depressed. What would you say was the difference with your grief process? How did you come out of grief?
I don't like the phrase coming out of grief because I don't think you ever
Or
really
come out?
fully come
Yes.
out.
And
Because
that's what,
it's like if I got my arm amputated,
yes.
oh, I will never be the same.
No, you won't. Absolutely.
Never,
Mhm.
never, ever be the same.
Absolutely.
But I think you can release the grip of grief,
Yeah.
and it takes time, but it also takes a support team. You need a team, and a team. If you say, you know what, because people deal with it differently, be able to handle when this person starts to evolve
Mhm.
and think differently and go, okay, just
Yeah.
be a support. Listen, be there, be present. They can sound so crazy sometimes. They be going off. Okay, I love you. I'll call you tomorrow. you know, but no, you need a team. You need a team. And I know you need a team. There are grief counselors that are out there that will help bring you support. And you know you.
Yeah.
If you are sitting up in the house for 2 and 3 weeks, you don't want to live, you need some intervention.
Yeah.
You need intervention.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You will not be judged.
It's
That's
okay.
actually
Absolutely. Because
a
there are people who
great,
don't even believe in God, who still have to make it through grief. They
yeah.
still have to go through it. They still have to, experience it. And so some of those people come out just as healed. So there is, that means that there's something else that's possible for you to heal in another way. It's not just one way. So I think that's important. I know that the level of hurt and pain that I have seen you walk through, and I know I don't ever want to experience it. I know I'll have to someday, maybe, but it gave me a different outlook on life, on family. And as a person, I have never seen you stronger than this moment. And the fact that you showed up like, yeah, good.
Can't
But
be done no good.
can't be nothing but good. But you went through something that was so traumatic that a lot of people didn't recover from and won't recover from because they chose not to. Um, but even with the level of trauma, so here it is, your life is what it is, and on the other side of that door is this whole tragedy. So this is before you get the call. And on the other side of that door is everything that you've experienced since that call.
Mhm.
What would you tell yourself before opening that door?
Honestly, I really don't know what I would tell myself because I would have never walked through it.
Wow.
I would, no, I'm gonna stay right in this bed and keep this door closed. And I think that is what, when you lose something, I think it's one thing, and I'm not minimizing pain. I think it's one thing when
Mhm.
you know somebody is sick and you can kind of brace yourself for
Yeah.
the fall. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
But then when you just on a cliff bow and you fall, and then you have to then put the pieces back together again. I don't know if there was anything I would say. If I could go back and because I talked to my brother, I feel like it's a privilege. I talked to him that Friday, May 10th.
Yeah.
And I was at work and this thing came over me and said, call your brother. I called him and said, hey brother, and how you doing? How's your day? And he told me some things that had occurred early that day. And we hung up. He said how he was going to church for Mother's Day and everything like that. And I said, I love you, big brother. He said, I love you too. And when I am not making this up. When I closed that, hung up the phone, I said, that's so amazing how we can just say, I love you and you love me too. It wasn't always like that. We had to work at making a relationship. I remember there was a time that my brother and we got involved and so heated. I told him I don't ever want to talk to you for the rest of my life. I lasted for 2 months.
Yeah.
To me, that just didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
How could you have a family member out there and just act like they are not alive? Over what?
Right.
Over what? And here we were on May 10th, my final conversation saying, we didn't argue. I said, I love you, brother. He said, I love you too. And to me, again, finding God in it, that was a privilege.
And some people don't get that. And
Yes.
so important
it's 8:00
that you communicate what you really want people to know. Because you don't know if you can go back and change it the next day.
That's true.
You don't know.
My mom and I, we have this thing between us. Mm-hmm. There are times we get on the phone, shout out to my mama, is watching, I love you, but I'm telling her the truth. There are times we get on the phone and we know, okay, we about to get an attitude with each other. I'm like, Mom, I love you so much. I need to get off this phone. This conversation is about to change.
Yeah.
I said, I love you, and we'll hold out. I said, but I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, okay? I'm gonna stay I call it staying at the table. Mm-hmm. We may not speak at the table.
Yeah.
I may suck to the first meat of her and be mad, but we are not leaving the table. We are not leaving relationship.
Yeah, relationship. Yes, that's
good. And to me, relationship for me is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, like you said, a lot of people that experience this, especially on this level of tragedy, they don't get closure. There's not a suspect. There's, no one's arrested. And your family has been so graced to be able to have that piece of closure. And I know it probably feels like you've gotten robbed. Like somebody took something from you, didn't ask, they just took it. And for what? For nothing. So it's like, I can't even imagine, but first of all, have you forgiven the suspect? And secondly, if you had one thing that you could say to him today, what would it be?
Oh, that's great.
Do they have a beat feature? I would have.
And I'm gonna speak my truth.
Yes, absolutely.
The first question was, have I forgiven him? Absolutely not. And you know why? Because he has not asked me for forgiveness. This person has not asked me for forgiveness. And I understand the things we hear. Well, I'll forgive them so I can move on for myself. Absolutely not. I am not gonna I hope you get rehabilitated. I hope he gets the whatever he needs to fulfill his purpose in life. But to be totally 100 and honest, absolutely not. Because you have not asked me for forgiveness. Forgiveness is a privilege, not something I mean, God can forgives us,
But we
you
still have
know,
to ask. We still
but we have to ask for forgiveness. Absolutely.
we do.
Absolutely.
And that's when the action of him separating our sins as far as the east is from the west comes in. It doesn't just happen because we mess up. We have to go to him and ask him for it.
That
Period.
is true. That's a great point. Thank you for adding that to it. I if I could say the question was if I could say something to him, what would I say?
What do you say?
Dummy. you are a dummy.
Yeah, that's way better than
Because you ain't even got good aim, buddy. And that's just the truth.
yeah.
And especially for my brother to not even been involved.
Yes.
But what I have to be clear,
Mm-hmm.
and would not without I don't know how much information I can say about this gentleman, but nobody wins. Maybe that's what I would say. Nobody wins.
Oh, that is so good.
My brother is gone. The guy you wanted to kill is gone, but your life is gone. And the children that you have, they have to walk and live through life with a stigma that my father is a murderer. And no telling what you have ignited in them
Ooh,
to continue the same cycle.
yeah.
Nobody wins.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. Nobody.
Nobody.
What do you have to show? You will be locked up for 60 plus years
Yeah.
and will have the same cycle of fathers not being in the lives of the black young men or their daughters. And then your whole family has to deal with what you've done for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So, one final saying, if you could say anything to Charles today, what would it be? If you had just one breath to say one thing, what would you tell your brother?
What I said to him on May 10th,
I'm out.
I mean that with everything in me.
Yeah.
I really love
Yeah.
I really love you. I love you so much.
Yeah.
And so I live my life wanting people in it to know that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you can do a great job of that.
Thank you.
There's no
I,
question.
I, I work hard at it. I do.
I've noticed that.
Mhm.
Um, I love your friend.
Me too. I love you. I really do. And I say that from a very sincere place. When I got off, and I when I got off the plane,
Mm-hmm.
because I tried to drive home,
Yeah.
I got because I had never been in that state. So
Yeah.
people were like, "Are you sure you're okay to drive?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've done it before." I got maybe 10 miles
Mm-hmm.
and lost it. But when I ended up catching the flight,
Mm-hmm.
and my cousin Cherie met me.
I love her so
Roger, I know I love him. Shout out to Roger. Roger is like a surrogate brother to me now.
much.
He
Yeah.
calls and says, "Hey, bro, just checking on you," like a big brother would.
Yes.
We
Yes.
talk and have very open conversations. And um, and you know who else was there? Rita Green. It was her husband's birthday that day. And Chris said to Rita, "Go ahead and be with Brian."
Yes. He didn't even want me home. He said, I need you to be with him.
And when you have that type of the privilege of that type of love to flow in your life, it's um it's a wonderful thing. And I wish everyone had friends like
Yes. Everybody needs a friend like that.
that. That can look at you and just be present and not feel like they have to fix it.
Yes. Uh-huh.
They have to feel like this is something the Lord want me to say. No, he don't want you to say nothing. Listen,
Yeah.
they can be talking crazy. Listen,
Yeah.
they can be saying, "I want to go take revenge."
Yeah.
And of course, when you start seeing them grabbing knives and things, then you need to go to intervene. But, but by the same hand, you still you just need that space to say exactly how you feel, and nobody's going, Jesus.
That's true. Have you noticed, speaking of support, have you noticed a difference in your support system? Have you noticed a change?
Yes, my intimate friends have slimmed down.
Ooh, my intimate friends have slimmed down. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I have valued so much the ability to be transparent,
Mm-hmm.
open, and
Yes.
honest. And this is where I'm at. This is what I feel. This is what's going on. And I cannot rock with people where I cannot disclose
Yeah.
on an intimate level, where I cannot disclose all of what's going on with me
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
without a and so that has slimmed down.
Yeah.
Um, just and I'm not trying to say like you know who your real friends are, but just start to.
Can. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
There are some that I have not heard from since the funeral.
Yeah.
And I thought some would have showed up differently, but that's okay.
So they
Because
showed up in
show
the way
you,
you can
show
see.
me everybody's in your life for a season and a reason, and the season is up. Hallelujah. But it's just and then you cherish your family.
Yes.
Like there's a greater level of love that I have for my family now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like I went home and we went and took it was his anniversary of his death, May 11th.
Mhm.
We had like 8 or 9 people out there.
Wow.
We just thought it was going to be like our immediate family, aunt. It was cousins and aunties and just showed like what we weren't expecting that, and then we prayed and we cried again,
Absolutely.
but we hugged each other and loved each other, and it's okay, it's okay. So shout out to the Brooks family. Shout out to
Yes.
my wonderful family, my extended family. I like again. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm not trying to overstep nobody, whatever. But that's been my experience. I've had a great family support.
Reverend Chauncey Brown said the value of transparency. Wow. And all I can say is I agree with what you said. It's I'm gonna be straight up honest and say that you have taught me the value of transparent friendship. So much so that I can't go back. There are people who, because of the line of work that I'm in, everybody always tries to attach themselves to me. So everybody knows me. Everybody's my sister, my brother, and oh, I talk to Rita every day. But I'm here to tell you that it's so not true. I have had friends I have had people in my life for years. And after experiencing true, transparent friendship with you without judgment and with accountability, but with love,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even look at them the same. I no longer call certain people my friend. Some people are now associates.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful to have that, and thank you for being there for me.
You're welcome. You made a great point. Because it's one thing to like have a friend, you just kind of tell it all, ha, 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 but the accountability.
Yes.
We giving each other stuff,
Ooh.
and we don't give each other a pass. If it stinks, it stinks. And we may not laugh about it. That was funky what you did, right? But we don't stay on the course. Get back. Come on. Let's go. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, in wrapping up, I wanted to go back and address a couple of questions if we haven't already answered them. So
Okay.
ignore them and then we will wrap up. Um, Someone had the question, my cousin Candace, who I love
Candace.
much. I can't find her question, but oh, I believe it was. Well, first of all, she said, "I'm so sorry that your family has experienced this level of hurt." But she wanted to know, and I'm paraphrasing. Oh, here it is. How do you feel today?
I mean, I feel great. Like you do. It does get better with time. Um, but of course, you're triggered by birthdays, anniversary of the death, the first Christmas,
Yeah,
just the first of
yeah,
of this reality that who you love is not present anymore. Where you used to them, I would come home in Indianapolis and he's about to walk through the door. But how do I feel now? I feel better. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I don't think about it or I have my moments. There have been times I have actually cried in my sleep. I've had dreams and have waken and I'm in tears. Um, but you just learn how to navigate. I'm better. Um, and I have the right support in my life to keep me staying movement.
And another question was, Brian, how did that comment make you feel? Because I think it was not a nice comment. So they this is Shell Bailey, and she's referring to the comment that somebody made that you shared that somebody made about the picture and saying this is
Okay.
yeah. So
Well, I mean, it adds insult to injury. But what I did was I went in that inbox
I did too.
and said, "How dare you? You got to call people out.
You do. You have to teach
If
people how to treat you.
yeah, if you step on my foot and it's obvious, you look down and you see it and you keep walking. I have a responsibility too to say, excuse me. That was really painful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and so yes, I sent her inbox and said that was very disgusting.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I had to figure out who was she threaded with. Because she
Yeah.
wasn't my friend.
Right.
She was somebody that I was friends with that you don't even know. You don't even see one thing you got to understand with people's family members,
Yeah.
you don't know them.
Nope. Period. Yeah.
While a little Pookie shot up a bank,
Yeah.
you don't know them.
Yeah.
And it's still a hurtful thing.
Mhm.
So shut up.
Period. Boo. I said some other things that weren't nearly as nice as yours, but hey man, let's move on. Shantae Hornberger says, you have to work towards forgiveness and ultimately make that choice to forgive, and it takes time and practice. And I know earlier she said hello and she loves you, I believe.
I
So
love you too, Shantae.
um,
Well, and let me go back to the point of forgiveness. You
yes.
know, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm stuck
Hmm.
by the life of this person. Because people say, other people, and we hear this stuff. We forgive because it releases us, it frees us, and in some way, yes. But I don't know. I'm not about to pardon somebody who has
And
hurt.
you may not even want to be pardoned.
Because what if I forgive and then he's up here laughing or being
Absolutely. Or that's
No,
fair. Absolutely. That is such
I don't have to be in your face. I don't have to,
yeah,
come and see you and we now are pen pal buddies.
not at all. Not at all.
Absolutely not. I'm gonna leave that for the church ministries that go in. Okay. That's what the churches do.
Um, and one more comment, Rodney. That's my cousin. I just tuned in and evidently it was at the right time. Transparency is something I'm going through right now. Listen, cousin, it is so important. And a lot of the struggle with being transparent is generally because you don't accept yourself. You don't know the true value of you because even on your worst day, you still have purpose and
Mhm.
you still are great. So you can tell somebody something and it not be all the way true, but why? Because I don't want them to, that's the you that you're creating them to know. I want you to know me for who I really am. And if you cannot handle it and if you don't like it, you're not for me. And but guess what? I'm going to grow, I'm going to reach my peak. I'm going to reach who I'm supposed to be. And when that happens, I don't know you. Yay.
Yeah.
So, if I can't be real with you without you judging me, without you running behind my back and talking about me and telling somebody else about what my struggles are, I don't need to know you because you can't help me. You can't progress me. There's nothing that you have to offer me. And that's why I am so grateful to have you in my life because you do all those things for me. You progress me. You make me better. You have taught me how to be a better parent. And my kids absolutely adore and respect and love you so much.
I love them too.
So yeah, this is what you need. You need friends in your life.
You'll be talking like when we on the FaceTime.
I'm trying not to do so. It's so easy. But yeah, so in wrapping up, well, first of all, do I look cute?
You look nice. Hallelujah.
How is this coat? Oh, I just said, yeah, this is befitting. But and I just wanted to just feel, him or So anyway, because I've been lost my mind and cried on here like I was okay. So before I go there, um, what do you want people to know about Charles? What do you want? What legacy do you want people to remember?
I want people to remember. I think this is something my brother practiced in my life. I've experienced from him.
Thank you, sis.
He was a truth teller.
He was, yeah. No matter how.
Sometimes it wasn't always in the right package, but he was never a person, the type of person that wouldn't say exactly how he felt.
Mhm.
And some people are just like, but at least he was being honest.
He was very honest. Yeah.
He did not take for no mess. And if something didn't look right, feel right, sound right, what you say?
You don't
And
know,
it wasn't confrontational at times,
right?
but the legacy is as my brother would slap somebody for calling me a fag,
Yeah,
I stand up for him.
absolutely.
And I refuse to let people make my brother out like some type of thug
Yeah.
person. Uh, oh my God, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He was at a club. And blah. Let's remember it had nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
Let's remember
absolutely.
he was outside on his cell phone.
That's it.
I hate that to be your child at Shell gas station and they on their cell phone and get hit by a stray bullet like the lady, that young girl that was 16 years old. What do you say to
Right
that?
in our car with her parents.
So people, we sometimes we're unintelligent in our logic. Sometimes we don't think clearly. Or we think a one size fits all is the answer.
Yeah.
But anyway, nonetheless, I want him to be remembered as who he was, Chuck Strong.
That's
This strong, 6 foot giant life of a person
yes,
that will protect you, will defend you, and will love you. No, nobody is perfect. We had our squalls and we went out, I can't stand you. But at the end of the day, we got it right. And
absolutely.
if God is giving you time, get it right. But that's how my brother,
And
Chuck.
cousin Kimmy said the same thing. Said he was such a gentle giant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Julie, oh, Julie said, Brian, I'm so sorry for this loss. Such an amazing person.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, all right. In closing, talk about bee cooking in the next phase of your life. Yeah.
Look, I got a delivery to do later on. Okay, we get off the line. But no, I'm just so privileged. Oh my God. Um, I started a mobile meal company. Well, the thought came to me maybe 6 months ago. I was cooking, and a friend of mine who does costume design for Tyler Perry, he said to me, he said, he said, why don't you start a mobile meal company? And I said, okay. I kind of sat in or whatever. And I remember I brought the idea. Rita is my accountability and my bounce out person. Okay. And within less than 24 hours, I had the Be Cooking logo brought by Rita. And then when quarantine occurred, it was like, let's go. I was working from home, so I was able to cook and work and all that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, it is taking off in leaps and bounds. Off so much to the point where I'm like, oh my God. Like I got a celebrity client that I just made. I'm not gonna reveal the person's name just for,
Yes.
just out of respect for that person. But I did a whole diet meal, a plan for 10 meals. And this person is really popular. Um,
Yeah, extremely.
and,
And that
and,
person's not the first and only one.
yeah, and so I'm just so grateful. I do gourmet meals, and I mean, when I tell you everything, every ingredient is fresh, from the spinach to the veggies, to everything. The sauce, everything is hand done, made by me, with the highest quality that I can put in a meal. I mean, it's like this meticulous piece of work that I am so serious about, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. All those who have supported, thank you so much. Again, shout out
It
to,
is so
Rita Green, Chris Green, and all of that. Thank y'all. And I just believe we
so
got a
good.
website. Huh?
It is so good. I got to experience it on Mother's Day and for my birthday. It
Yes.
was so amazing. Somebody said, "Bring the food to Cincy, please." And Catherine Morton said, "Oh, was it? Oh, Julie, right." And then Catherine said, "When I tell y'all that bee cooking is heaven sent, down to bless your tummy."
Thank you.
Share, but she did. Speaking of not wanting to share, my grandbaby was eating with my mom. They had an order, and my daughter wanted to taste it, so she took one bite, and my granddaughter started crying. I was like, "No, mommy," because it was so good. Um, and cousin Kimmy said, "God's gifts in grief." That's beautiful.
Oh, that is nice, cousin.
That is beautiful.
Absolutely. See, that's what I'm saying. You've got to find that silver lining, that space that says God is up to something. And I'm telling you, I'm grateful. I am thankful. I am thankful. I am thankful. I am thankful. I am thankful that I am alive, that I have life, I have purpose, and God has allowed me to see success. And it's just the beginning. And I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you. If y'all have not checked him out, please do. Can you give your handles for social media?
Yes, so I'm on Facebook, Be Cooking. And then we got a website that'll be coming soon. We'll be launching that soon. I'm on Instagram. It's b.cooking. And then the business is not Be Cooking 42, but that's actually the number of years that my brother was 42 when he passed away. So it's b.cooking uh, 42 on Instagram. And also you can email me at b.cooking42@gmail.com. Listen, Cincinnati, let me know. We'll do a pop-up shop and come for 2 days. So b.cooking42 is on Instagram and b.cooking. Um, I love it. That is my little wee baby. Yeah.
That is so awesome. I'm so proud. And Be Cooking has literally taken off. Cousin said you have purpose, brother. I love
Thank
you, Rita. I love you too, cousin. So much. I don't know if you saw I'm rocking Charles' jacket today, so you know I'm
you.
excited. Um, so Brian, thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
you too, Kim. Love you too, brother. Thank you so much for this. Your transparency. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My teeth. Braces, baby. Get your life.
Hoping
Um,
this video together, snatch you over there.
I'm through though.
We see you. Smile, Rita. Oh, there it is. Wait a minute. There it is. Woo! Body straight, make the cricket thing straight.
It's coming on through. But yes, I want to thank you because so many people cannot be honest and they can't be transparent, so they don't help anybody.
Mm.
And they don't relate to somebody that's been through the same situation because they won't tell the truth. So thank you for that because a lot of people have been hitting me up already and you have made such a powerful impact. And that's what your life is purpose to do is make an impact. And love you too, cousin Kimmy. So yeah, thank you. Cousin Kimmy said, "Don't spit on nobody."
Please, please look at that. But
But yes, I am so honored to know you as to know you as an amazing artist.
I got music coming out soon, so be looking for that too. So it's not.
Absolutely.
The single is called "You Lord," produced by Terrence Denny.
Shout out to
It's
TD.
just a matter of time, so it's be looking for that too.
Absolutely. I'm excited about that. So, any final words or thoughts that you would like?
Fine, because I was gonna say that final word is whatever is inside of you, God put that in there for you to do. And whether it's music, whether it's because I used to live for the approval of I wanted to hear people had to affirm me,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
or but now I really do exactly what I want to do. And whether people believe or they don't believe. And all you need is that one person to be like, okay. So just keep going after your dreams. You're never too old, you're never too young. The business and things that I just God has placed inside of you, go get it. Especially if you've been holding on to something for 2 and 3 years and you keep going up and down, but you can say, oh, I gotta wait on this, or oh, I need to wait on that. Go do it. Or do some portion of it to help keep you progressing. That's the last thing I gotta say. God is love, and we should reflect that in every way.
Absolutely. Beautiful closing statement. Liz Dixon, hey, sis. One of my favorite sisters in the world. So glad Brian has another project. Thank you, Laura. I miss that voice. Oh,
It's coming. It's coming, y'all. It's
I
coming.
know it's off the hook, but
And honestly, my voice is a lot different now. So I mean, it's just better. I've been doing voice lessons and all kind of stuff, so it's been going great.
awesome. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you. Thank you for doing this, but thank you for surviving it. Thank you.
thank you.
And I love you. I appreciate you. And I can't wait till next time.
All right, love you too. Bye. I thought it was a shout out.
No. We We literally do that face every time we talk.
Yeah, we gotta see you later. Be silly. Hallelujah.
Really silly.
All right. Love you all. Thank you, Chris, so much for this opportunity, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, I wanted to shout out Chris because this is produced through C-Life Productions. Chris has really been putting together some amazing platforms and subject matters for people. So shout out to C-Life Productions. All right, y'all. Have a great evening.
Okay. Bye. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.